This is episode 9 of the Lip and Putts podcast here in the Better Rate Mortgage studio, presented by Woodward Sports. Back with my guy, Sam Palmer. We're here. Big week, I guess you could say, in the state of Michigan and in Detroit. Rocket Mortgage Classic is coming here this week. We'll get to that in a little bit, but obviously we're going to talk a little bit of the 3M Classic that just took place in, or 3M, was it 3M
Open?
3M Open. Not Classic.
There's a few, and then like LPGA and the Senior Tour had their majors. Slower week in the world of golf, obviously following the Open Championship. But hey, it's our Gordie Howe episode, number 9.
Yeah, shout out.
Exactly, the great one.
Oh, look at that. You got him right up there, too. The camera can't see it, but you can see the picture a little bit.
He's in here somewhat. Yeah, there you go. Well, Gordie Howe's with us in spirits.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not a hockey podcast. This is a golf podcast, though.
Correct.
But yeah, you said, I mean, obviously it's a slower week in golf. You know, if it weren't for the tournament being here in Detroit this week, I don't think it'd be a much slower week for us as well.
Right.
But definitely, you know, I think the headline being Tony Finau wins the 3M Open. He doesn't Finau it. He actually comes from behind and gets his, I think it was his 3rd PGA Tour win.
Yep.
For a guy who had been like consistently close, could never close the door. Which he had like guys house cat their way in, which we'll get to. But then also the two majors, Senior and the LPGA, which like you can say, do we care that much about it? I don't know. But we'll get to it. And then not a ton of live news. There's some stuff to talk about, and it's more smoke, not like actual confirmed news. But we'll get into all of it later on throughout this episode.
Here's a question for you. Coming off a major championship, do you almost wish like the golf world would take a week off?
Like, I think it's like, no, they can't, because like I'm the one who's fighting for like more starts for these young guys, and like that's a week where they're gonna get it. But I think like as us in general, like I tuned in. I think I watched like 3 holes of professional golf this week.
I feel like every time I tuned into 3M, they were in a rain delay.
Yeah, I did. Which is like the tournament in Minnesota in July. I mean, it's a similar thing with the Rocket Mortgage here. Like you get these summer storms. But yeah, no, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of golf over the course of every week, and it's hard to talk about and stay engaged to everything. Yeah. Especially after what was like such an awesome week in the Open, and where we both watched, I mean, countless hours of golf. Like it's sometimes you just need a break. And in my thing, I was more just playing a ton of golf this week.
Yeah, I played on Sunday as well too, which was awesome, and we can talk about that. If
might be our birdie and bogeys of the week.
Might be.
Teaser.
I almost feel bad for the people of Minnesota, right? Because it's not like that place, you get your
4 months a year.
Yeah, like you get 4 months, but you get your one PGA Tour event a year, and it comes right after the Open.
Yeah, and but I mean, it's the same thing for Rocket Mortgage. I mean, not year like over year, but it's moved around within the month of July, and it's never had the best field. I mean, it's these tournaments, like when you're around all these majors, it's the price you're going to pay, and it's a C-list PGA Tour event.
I know. I almost wish. I wonder if we'll ever see the chance of, you know, this event getting moved into, you know, the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the problem, like, I just don't think you have like a lot of guys who want to go up to Twin Cities. I don't know. And I think that what they have is they have a lot of pretty good courses, but they're limiting it now to 3 courses. Or they did last year, I think. So I just, I don't know. I mean, it's just an event that like is a good one to have on the calendar, because you need to have an event on the calendar, I think, to get a bunch of people other starts similar to these other off-week events, or just smaller field or worse field events. But I don't think it's ever going to be a destination. Similar, and like people might hate it, like that's what the Rocket Mortgage Classic is. Yeah. Like I think this year's the strongest field they have, and it's like bad, but it's like it's not great. Like it's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's getting
for
better.
The Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's a good field.
Yeah. No. Compared to the first 2 years that they did it there, it's gotten it's by far, I think, light years ahead of where it was even last year and the year before that.
But I do think there's something to be said about them moving around some of these summer events to like where one is going to, like, there's probably going to be a year where the Rocket Mortgage might be after the Open. Yeah. So I think they're going to adjust those on the fly.
Right. Yeah. Because this event last year fell on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. So it's just, they change it up, I think, because they do know it hinders the field for some of them.
Right. Yeah. Which makes sense. Mm-hmm. You do have to eat a little crow, I found hilarious. I meant to write his name down and I forgot. Someone on our YouTube channel, right after Tony Finau went to our last episode where you said none of the big guys were gonna win, and immediately counter is like, I think Tony Finau just won.
No, I've said that a few different times.
Yeah,
like a few different weeks. I was right in the John Deere Classic. I was wrong this time, but hey, I fucking got Cam Smith right.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Sorry, I didn't think he was going to give a shit. And if it wasn't for Scott Piercy just eviscerating himself and shooting like 80 on the Sunday, like he would have coasted to a victory. I think he could have shot over par on Sunday and still would have won.
Yeah, no, he.
But you know what?
could've.
I was wrong. I'll eat fucking crow, as you say it. Sorry to whoever that viewer is who wants to, go ahead and chirp us when we're wrong, but not congratulate us when we're right. That's fine.
Yeah, that is true. I saw that immediately. I got the notification on my phone. I was like, this is pure gold right now.
Oh, yeah, you got to,
It's kind of the first person that at least come out and chirp. I mean, we've had plenty of people chirp us about the
we
LIV
got to
Golf
get
stuff.
under the basement.
Which, again, I don't know why people think we hate LIV Golf. We just said things we didn't like after the first 2 events, and people got offended. So, but shout out to that guy for calling you out.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring him in. Maybe he'll give us some picks. We'll see how they do as well.
And then you can light him up.
Yeah,
when he's wrong.
watch they win.
But no, so I guess 3M Open, Tony Finau.
He picks up the victory. He won by like 4 shots.
Yeah, which was crazy. So Scott Piercy was pretty much him and Emilio Grillo were kind of the class of the field all week long, and then it had that same feeling, right? You get some of these guys that aren't atop of the leaderboard that often, and then sure enough, they just kind of throw up a little bit on themselves, especially Piercy. Like you said, Piercy could have shot even par or even shot, I think, 1 over.
If he shot 1 over, he would have been in a playoff, Tony.
Right, correct. So, I mean...
And now Tony bogeyed the last hole. Like, would he have bogeyed it hypothetically?
Well,
I don't know. I mean, he won by 3.
He also got very lucky on 17 when he ricocheted that shot off the
grandstand. He tried
grandstand.
to house cat it.
But, like, that's kind of the Tony Finau type finish. And I think that's why we haven't seen him win a lot of events.
He has to be up
because
by like 3.
We've kind of talked about it before, too. He almost like he's trying to play these events safe coming in where he just needs to go out and attack because he has the game that can do that. But his adrenaline gets pumping, too. I mean, but he pole hooked. I forgot what club he hit on 17. But the fact that ball did not roll into the water absolutely blew my mind because if that was my shot, it would have for sure ended up in the drink.
Well, yeah, and everything always happens like that for us.
Right.
But no, so Tony Finau he won over 3 over Emiliano Grillo, and then another really like one of the 3 big name players came in second, Sung JM. So like, yeah, again, I'll just take that one off the chin. I'm trying to find the comment or the guy so we can give him credit. Either way, yeah. No, I mean, I didn't watch much of the 3M Open. Like you said, when I tuned in, it was always in a rain delay, whether it was Thursday, Friday when I was working and having ESPN Plus on, or trying to tune in on the weekend. It's tough. And I was playing a lot of golf, enjoying the day. And then, like we said, I don't know. I mean, what's your thought on the golf course? Like, especially when you go after a week from the Open Championship where it was firm, fast, hard. You're obviously not going to get that in Minnesota, especially when there's summer storms and everything. But like, what's your opinion on that dichotomy, switching from basically St. Andrews to TPC Twin Cities?
It's hard, right? It's just totally different. And even for the players coming back, and some of these guys went from playing the Open to playing this event. And I get you have your practice rounds and whatnot too, but you got to be jet lagged. You have to be. It would be hard for me to get geared up and ready to go after coming off a major event, almost like a viewer of the show. Like I assume that's how you kind of equate it a little bit, but I don't know. Again, like I had a hangover in a sense from the Open, and I didn't play. I mean, again, I went to tune in on Friday and Saturday, and it was raining both times, so I flipped over a different channel. I thought for sure on Saturday they were going to be done for the entire day. It said play suspended. And the next thing you know, at 9 o'clock, I got an update that said, third round is complete. I was like,
well, I know they teed them off really early that Saturday to beat the storms. But I guess they came through. They obviously were able to get the course all ready and able to finish, I guess. It makes for a long day for those guys and everything along those lines. By the way, it's Michael Sieber. Shout out his name. I commented back. I said, yeah, what a take I had. But I don't. My whole thing is it's like I actually don't mind the course as much as other people. I know a lot of people really dislike it. I think there's other courses that are worse than it. But it is. I mean, especially when it's wet, it's just like a guy like Tony Finau is probably a good pick because he hits it a gazillion miles, and like it's not going to go anywhere because the moment it lands, it stops. So you don't have to worry about the out of control stuff. for a guy who hits it a long ways. There's just hazards kind of lurking. So I actually don't mind it as a course right off St. Andrews. It's way different. But yeah, again, it's hard to get up for this one.
Because to your point is all I wanted to do this last week was play golf. After watching the Open, I was like,
yeah,
get me on a golf course, get me on a golf course, get me on a golf course. So you get a little bit of hangover again from that standpoint. I think the highlight moment, aside from the golf, was Scott Piercy and his blister. Did you see this? So he ended up getting a blister on, I believe, the back of his heel. And you've played golf where your shoe starts rubbing the wrong way and when you get a new pair of shoes? That's what happened to him. So he was going up and walking around the golf course with a shoe in his hand. It was the most common man thing I've ever seen.
Put the shoe on before he'd hit then?
He put the shoe on, but you could see it was untied. It was really loose. And then even when he was on the putting green, he'd tap the putt in, and then immediately pop his shoe off, put it in his hand, and walk off the green.
Really? I didn't. Yeah. Are you not allowed to not have a shoe on unless you're hitting out of the hazard? Like, could he have? Well, just been fuck it, I'm not playing with my shoe on.
I was imagining, could they play on tour in bare feet?
I don't know. I played barefoot on Saturday night. It was phenomenal. I don't know if these guys could. I'm sure that PGA Tour wouldn't want them to do that. LIV maybe.
Yeah. But no, I saw this and I was like, that was the first. That was the first we got this week.
Yeah, no,
I was not expecting it. But I was like, I felt bad for him because that happened to me earlier this year, and it happens actually when it gets wet out, especially if you get a new pair of shoes. Your sock will get wet, and then your sock starts rubbing up against the new shoe, and then you just get. It feels like a tire mauled the back of your heel.
Oh yeah, it's miserable.
It's the worst thing in the world.
He was like Kurt Schilling, bloody sock, almost, but he didn't end up winning.
Yeah, yeah. So at least he has an excuse now. He can blame his bad golf on the blister on his foot. Yeah. That's what I would be doing.
You know what? He's a guy who would fit the bill for LIV. Just random, kind of sidebar.
Piercy.
I'm surprised. I mean, he's been on tour for a while, and he has had some wins, and he's competitive still to a degree. Almost a Pat Perez-esque. Pat Perez has had a better career than Scott Piercy, but, I'm sure this win, I wonder if he wins, does LIV try to go get him? Because, again,
he's an older guy,
you're taking a current winner on the PGA Tour.
Just
I'm
keep
curious how much he
cost
himself, maybe not. I mean, obviously, he cost money by not winning the tournament, but I'm just curious. I'm literally pure speculation. There's no reports of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be bold. Is that's how they feed their tour. Is all right. We're just gonna pick every winner.
Yeah,
from each event
and offer them $30 million.
Yeah, and that would be. I mean, that would be balls on the table type move out of them.
So, any other headline? I mean, my pick, Nick Hardy to win T58. He made the cut, but sick.
Yeah, Maverick McNeely didn't really do too much.
T49, nice. Yeah, but then
again,
it's disappointing for Maverick.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna come in and play hot, but maybe it's just not the time for him yet.
He's playing this week though. I mean, he's probably one of the favorites coming in to the Rocket Mortgage. Chris Goddard up T30. I mean, I know I mentioned his name. He's a young guy trying to earn points, but either way, I mean, I don't mean, is there any other things you wanted to talk about with the 3M?
No, that's pretty much all I got. I thought the best moments were Scott Piercy and his blister, and then you completely having the opposite take of what exactly happened.
Yeah. Also, Doug Gim shooting 6 over on Sunday. He was 13 under going into Sunday. He finished T16 at 7 under.
Yeah.
Tough break.
Yeah. Well, it's the scoreboard when they were coming up. It was I don't know. They were on 13 or 14 on Sunday, and you saw Tony Finau was 4 under, and you saw Scott Piercy was +4. I was like, could you imagine coming in the final round and then you have an 8-shot swing?
Oh yeah.
That you have to do it. But a lot of people, and credit, I did see on social media, a lot of people were like, I like Tony Finau coming from behind on Sunday.
Well, and that was the week when Xander Schauffele won in the Scottish Open. He lost to Cameron Tringale, I think, by 11 on day 1.
Right. Yeah,
and so then you can make up that ground.
It's the year of the comeback right now on the
exactly.
PGA Tour.
One other guy worth mentioning, he was leading the U.S. Open, which is I never had heard of this guy until he was leading the U.S. Open. Callum Tarrant.
Yeah.
He's had a few good weeks. He's not won, but I think he's been having top 20s. He had a top 10 this week. He's playing at the Rocket Mortgage. Just another you start seeing these names and leading the U.S. Open, you're gonna generate some sort of confidence. And it's clearly leading to better play and throwing, hey, I can compete in these events. Because, I thought he was going to be a 22-year-old Brit who somehow got in the U.S. Open. But no, he's a journeyman as well. Journeyman meaning 30 years old. So
isn't that funny, though? Because I'm glad you brought him up because I meant to do that as well. that's how I'm always going to remember Callum Tarrant is like, oh, that's the guy that was leading the U.S. Open at one point that I had no idea who he was until he was leading the U.S. Open.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm trying to pull up what his most recent finishes were. But
I mean, he left a nice impression on us, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we know he was. While I'm looking up his OWGR just so I can get this for you. All right, so T7 at the 3M, T22 at the Barracuda. We all know how awesome that event is. Miscut at the Scottish Open, T6 at the John Deere Classic, miscut at the Travelers, T31 at the U.S. Open. So he's had 2 top 10 since, and he's also had 2 miscuts.
Yeah. I mean, it's credit to him. He's trying to make some. I mean, the more and more that you get up and you're at top of the leaderboard, I feel like the more likely you're going to see his name moving forward, right? So he's at top of the leaderboard, U.S. Open, top of the leaderboard at the 3M now. So I don't know, maybe he can turn himself into a little bit of a household name here on the PGA Tour in the coming years.
Well, yeah, and I just think like the whole thing is these tournaments, these off-week tournaments are really important for some of these guys from a FedEx Cup standpoint to secure their card. And like what he's doing is, I'm sure, is earning enough points to secure his card for next year, which is like now he has a place to play and it's not going on the Corn Ferry. It's just it I think adds a lot of job security, you would say, to him.
With a name like Callum Tarrant, I think he should be a country singer. That's kind of, I think that's also why. How many guys do you know that are named Callum?
Yeah. So okay, so he's 126th on the FedEx Cup right now.
Oh,
I was literally like, I'm gonna go look, and so he's 126. Granted, there's like Pat Perez is 121. He's not going to be included, so I'm curious how that's going to kick down.
Yeah. Well, then you got Patrick Reed, Brooks, all those guys are probably up in front. So,
but so here I'll just kind of give Stuart Sinks 122, Tyler Duncan 23, Lucas Glover 24, Webb Simpson 25. Then you have Callum Tarrant 26, Jason Day 27, Kevin Tway 28, Nick Taylor 29. These are all 100. You know, it's just shortening it.
I bet you they do it too. I could see him too. Like you still have to get inside the top 125. And then the first event, those guys are just out or something along those lines.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So Ricky Fowler's 132. He's playing this week. Another like he needs to play well so he can secure his card. But
yeah,
either way,
he's making cuts now again pretty consistently.
You're
so.
Right. And he didn't like come in 60. It was like 30 something. So
right.
We'll see how it is. But
he's trending in the right direction, I guess we could say, right? I think the first week we started this podcast, he had just made a cut for the first time in what felt like forever. So,
but like that's the golfer he is now. I don't think the expectations of him like being in the top 10 week over week. It's just, you can't have that. He's making the cut, and maybe 1 or 2 weeks a year he'll be somewhat competitive going into the weekend. But
I said last week I wanted Jason Day to be good again, and he had highlights.
Made the cut.
Yeah, he made the cut, and then did you see his one? I don't remember what hole it was, but he had a putt for an eagle on a par 5, and the way the camera angle is, you could see him kind of down in like this little runoff, and you could tell he putted it, and you're waiting for the ball to come up over the hill, and it just never came up over, and then came back down the hill. Adam was like, Jesus,
you were
Jason.
Like, oh boy.
And I was like, Sam said last week, he was like, this guy was a really good putter, and
it's just hard. It's hard to be sustainable at that, just consistently, whether you're John Rahm, whether you're
Jordan Spieth,
Scotty Scheffler, like when you're at such a high clip of strokes gained at anything, it's gonna regress back to the mean at some point. So either way, 2 other things just worth mentioning. Brooke Henderson wins the Evian Masters, which is one of the 5 majors in the LPGA. Like, people basically say half the players don't even care to play in this. I think it's like it's not a huge event just based on, I think, the course and everything where it's at. But then also Darren Clark won the Senior Open. He becomes, I think, the 4th or 5th player to ever win the British Open and then the Senior British Open together. So he's a guy who like clearly knows how to play links golf. Did you watch any of it?
I watched on Thursday or Friday, whenever it was raining during the 3M.
Sunday, they were squeegeeing the greens for these guys to putt. It was a monsoon. It's like, of course, they get the Open Championship positions the week after.
Yeah.
But, like, before they were putting 5-footers, there was guys squeegeeing before on final round.
Ooh,
that was, like, 2 of the 3 holes of golf.
I've actually done that when I was an assistant golf pro back at Walnut Creek. We had a club championship going on, and the final 4.
Oh, yeah. You were broadcasting.
Yep, broadcasting. But the final 4 round was like in a downpour that morning, and we were doing the same thing, squeegeeing the green in somebody's line right before they had a putt. It was a very interesting, fun time, I thought.
Yeah,
something different. I've never done that before. Did you see the trophy for the Senior Open?
No,
it's like a bigger claret jug like on this podium. It's actually badass. Cool. Like I was like, to me I feel like that should be in the regular Open trophy, but I guess
You're not going to change a trophy of 150 years.
Hey, that's why I was like, okay, shut up, Nick. That's a bad take. But the thing, it's like a bigger, like monster size
People will blow up.
claret jug. I thought it was badass. I was like, that fits way more than just 2 beers.
Yeah,
in it.
exactly. Cam Smith would have his day.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think before we get into talking about the Rocket Mortgage, there's not a ton of live news, but I think it's worth like mentioning and talking about. I have a theory of what I think the PGA Tour could do to respond, but basically there's a few things that came within live, and I think it's worth announcing it. I mean, to start, officially announced Henrik Stenson joins LIV Tour. It was, I think, reportedly $40 to $50 million contract. He relinquishes his captaincy for the Ryder Cup.
Well, I wouldn't say it was relinquished, right? They stripped him of it.
More, they stripped him.
Yeah.
And he kind of released the statement like, hey, I wanted to do both, but based on whatever they said I couldn't. So curious to see, who the next Ryder Cup captain is going to be, which that's not, I don't think, a huge deal. But they lost Henrik Stenson, and I think the question that everyone asks, like, wow, you're willing to give up this Ryder Cup, legacy, for $40-50 million, and I just, again, like, that question is asked, and I just, like, to these guys, yes, it's an important event and everything, but I think it has begun to water down to some degree, especially amongst the Europeans who have dominated for so long, and, like, I think the writing's on the wall of the flip of the script of what's going to happen within that event. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we've probably been saying the writing's going to be on the wall for a while, and they finally dominated until the U.S. basically wins in Europe. But they've lost 4 or 5 guys now who have been staples within that team. And I don't know. I mean, do you think it's a big deal? Do you think people are making it a bigger deal than it needs to be?
What, the Stenson deal?
Leaving?
I think because they're making a big deal is, what has the PGA Tour tried to preach over the last 8 weeks now is legacy, tradition. It's kind of their last leg to stand on. Mm-hmm. And once people stop caring about the legacies, the traditions, the history, they're kind of done until they figure out a way to increase purses, sign guys to multi-year contracts. It's their last leg, so that's why you're hearing about it so much. For them, again, I think it goes back to what you said. It's like, I don't think the non-Americans care much about the political stuff that comes with LIV Golf. So Stenson looked at an opportunity. He goes, he's probably now taking that deal with LIV. He's probably doubled his career earnings. So, I mean, you're taking care of your kids from that point on, essentially. So, I mean, it's hard, right? Because the Ryder Cup is one of the best events. It's one of the longest standing traditional things between the European Tour, the American team. I watched a video last week from when the Americans won at, what was it? The President's Cup at,
it might have been Hazeltine.
I want to say it was Hazeltine. And, you look at the guys that were on that team, you had Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Reed. You had all those guys. So essentially, the United States have lost half the guys that have been with them as well, too. So
yeah,
it's almost even, but there's enough players to fill the script.
There's a lot more depth in the United States, basically.
Right, exactly. And, I was like, damn, it sucks. Like, we'll never see those guys on a Ryder Cup again. Again, that could evolve and that could eventually change. But, I mean, what? You go back 10 years and essentially the Ryder Cup's completely different from where it was 10 years ago. Yeah. So it's kind of an evolving door with the Ryder Cup. So to me, I was like, we're just seeing, I guess, our first, long-standing generational guys that we've seen growing up on the Ryder Cup team, and they were going to age out eventually anyway. So to me, I don't think it's the end of the world. I do think it's crazy that he relinquished that duty for the payroll, but at the same time, too, I also get it.
Yeah, I guess my whole thing is, that money might not be there come the end of the Ryder Cup next season. It might not be nearly as much because we talk about these trendsetters. So I think he's kind of like, if I'm going to do this and basically make what I think I'm going to earn, it's time to do that. And so I do think part of the reason maybe we haven't heard a ton of LIV is obviously they have an event this week in Bedminster, going against the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So it'll be interesting that the teams aren't out. I was just looking. See where like Pyatt was going to be and some of those guys. But a few of the players are making their debuts. I mean, Henrik Stenson, Paul Casey, some of those guys are making their debut in the event. Charles Howell III was, I think, like the reported one that was also a big surprise. Like, hadn't expected that name at all.
Yeah.
A guy who's made a ton of money on the PGA Tour. I think he's got like 3 wins, but he is a journeyman who has been very competitive for 25 years. But again, I think that's like a guy who, like if I'm LIV, that's what I'm going after. These kind of journeyman players who still have some sort of value, but it's more of a bigger name and to create more of a wider audience.
Yeah, I almost look at it at like a Stenson type deal, an older guy, on the back half of his career. So that one didn't surprise me. I almost expect all those guys from that age group, who've had a long-standing name on the PGA Tour. It doesn't surprise me at this point. They're trying to make the most money as they can in the last real few competitive years of their career.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And I'm really excited to tune in. I mean, I'm really excited. It's a different story. I'm excited to tune in this week just because David Faraday. Obviously, there's been the rumors of the Charles Barkley and now I heard Gary McCord has like speculated. So we'll be curious what kind of goes on. I have a theory, and then there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, and it's kind of going along with like, here's what I think the PGA Tour needs to do, because I think they're really in a big world of hurt, and there's significant concern because more people are defecting. That's the term they can use. And really until the majors say anything, which we don't really know what they're going to say, because I think the majors are at the standpoint of like, hey, they're going to lose world ranking points. So until that happens, like, we don't really have to do much because it'll weed themselves out.
Right.
But I saw a report. Now, again, usually where there's smoke, there's fire, but these are like, there's so many different reports we're getting on Twitter, so whether it's true or not, different story. But basically it was that the LPGA commissioner said they'd be open to talks with LIV Golf. And, is the LPGA affiliated at all with PGA Tour? Not really. And I'm more curious, like, I know people are going to be like, it's women's golf. We don't care. Like, first off, I enjoy watching women's golf. It's a ton of fun. I can relate my game much more to them than the men, just based on swing speed and everything. But, man, if they're able to go get some women or somehow do some sort of affiliation or co-sanctioned with the women and the LPGA Tour, and they're going to work together, doesn't that seem like that'd be just like a roadmap as to how the PGA Tour can work with them? And it really puts them in a difficult spot if they're able to do that. Now, if I'm the PGA Tour, what I think you need to do, and what we've probably been talking about, or what people have been joking around for a little bit, is the European Tour did a mixed event, basically, with women and men. A woman actually won this year by like 7 shots. And then like the next top 10 were all men. They play from different tees, but they basically make it fair. The President's Cup is an event that is, for the most part, USA dominates. Yep. It's been pretty boring. How can you reignite some sort of rivalry there, especially with potentially these guys leaving for LIV? You maybe affiliate with the LPGA Tour and make it a mixed President's Cup. Like, just do that now. And I know we're 3 months out, and like, could you do that? I think you hurry up what you can do. You somehow affiliate. One, it probably blocks the LPGA Tour from joining LIV, but then it opens up more options to do something with women's golf, whether it be a mixed event. Like, you're just trying to create different avenues, which is what kind of LIV has done. And whether it's through this exhibition, which it is, the President's Cup's an exhibition, like that's what we want to call it. That's what LIV Golf is. It's all those things. Like, that would be something worth tuning into, and I think would help get the LPGA back on the side. Because when I saw that, I was like shocked. But if I'm I'm gonna listen to that. Yeah,
I mean, again, LPGA Tour is not, it's not a tour that has all. It's a women's sports, right? It's women.
It doesn't have access to as many things as the men,
right? And they don't make as much money as well, too. So that's again another avenue for their players to make more money. And I get it's people can sit there and look at it as greed, money, but who doesn't want to make more money?
And I think it makes it more competitive. Like, I struggled to watch the President's Cup. When they had it in Australia, it was intriguing because, I mean, Tiger was playing in it.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty competitive event. But the international squad, if it were to be for the women, would be unbelievably better than the Americans. Kind of to the difference of how the Americans dominate international, especially with the rumors that we have of Cam Smith, Mark Leishman, Adam Scott. Like, they would really be, in Hideki, like, lowered even down further. This would help blend it together, make it more equal, and make it worth watching.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to do every parent's got to be a man and a woman. Like, you can spin around. There's a mixed event in Europe that clearly works. Why not try something like that where, hey, if you choose a woman to play today, this is the tees they're at. Here's you can do those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would it be? I don't think Minwoo Lee would qualify for the President's Cup team.
He actually might.
But like Minji Lee is like his sister. Like, how cool would it be to see those two pair up and take on an American team of, like, I don't know, let's call it Tiger Woods and Nelly Korda. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that would be tune-in television.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's just trying to mix stuff up because, like, clearly there's things that are not working, and I don't think that there's a lot that is exciting about the President's Cup this year. It's playing at a course we always see in the Quail Hall. The United States is going to boat race them, most likely. Like, I'm saying that now and watch they're going to lose. But, like, I just, will I tune in? Yeah, but I don't care that much about it.
Well, it's because, essentially they took the Ryder Cup and just put another Ryder Cup in the off years.
Which I like.
Yeah.
The idea, I just think
it needs to be changed up a bit more.
Because it's such a blowout. It's like why do we keep watching this when it's no fun?
Yeah.
We're not getting up for anything. So I don't know. It was an idea I wanted to bring up. I don't know how they can do it. I know I listen to other places where I think a mixed event would be cool, whether it be team or something, but you can do those types of things. And I do think people might say, hey, that would not be a big deal. If LIV Golf somehow is able to affiliate themselves with the LPGA Tour, I think that would be just another blow to the PGA Tour that is taking shot after shot after shot.
Yeah.
And, like, the one response they had, LIV came back and punched them right back. And so, like, at some point you need to figure out a counteroffensive if you're them.
Yeah, and they're, like you said, they're kind of running out of options here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost just like you're waiting for, like, all right, who's the next big one that's going to leave at this point? To me, and I'm sure there's tons of talks, like, we speculate, like, we're putting a lot of speculation out just on this podcast. I can only imagine what's going on behind closed doors with, the brains of golf and what they're trying to do. And I guarantee they're taking ideas from players like a Rory McIlroy or, a Jordan Spieth. There's someone along those lines of, hey, what can we do to try to keep all these players or all of our guys? But at the end of the day, I know do you think we're too far removed now for them to ever strike some sort of a deal?
I think as long as Jay Monahan is running the helm for the PGA Tour, he's part of it is stubborn, part of it's too proud, part of it's like this happened under his watch. Like, you just, him going and doing that would be admitting that it was a colossal failure on his end. I think he would have to be gone for them to have any sort of thing with that. And it could be the players saying, hey, there's some money here. We need to figure out a way to somehow include ourselves in this. Yeah. And Jay, you're not representing us anymore that we want, so we're going to move on from you. I think that's what would have to happen. I do not think if Jay's involved, that it won't be.
I just don't. We haven't seen enough, and I get it's not really early in the process anymore. Early was back in before the first event.
Yeah, we had been hearing about this for a year.
Yeah.
And then obviously it became kind of big news around the world of sports 3-4 months ago. But yeah, no, like he's had opportunities to respond to these different things.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think your guys aren't serious. You're not going to get it. And it's like, well, shit, they're serious at this point.
Yeah.
And like,
it's not that I'm losing faith in the PGA Tour. I just haven't seen enough out of them to make.
There's nothing worth.
I know they've increased some purses and some.
Well, they just talked about it. I mean, they haven't technically increased them. I mean, it'll be next year.
Yeah.
But the other thing, like another domino that fell, and this was I saw today. We're recording this on a Monday. Was the European Tour basically said we're going to find players who want to play in the Scottish Open or stuff. They can't, basically those guys, but they won the suit. Some of those players did.
Yep.
Well, the European or the DP World Tour now came out and said they are permitting LIV players to participate in the Australian Open and the Australian PGA Championship. One, that's a huge event for like a guy like Adam Scott, Cam Smith, guys from Australia, of course. But now some of these Americans can go earn, and it's a bigger field per se on the European Tour. It's a better event. I would say it's an elevated event similar to how like the Arnold Palmer is on the PGA Tour. I mean, it's not that high because the PGA Tour is better, but it's that type of elevation on the European Tour. And so like there's 2 more options and another blow to the PGA Tour. Well, hey, these guys, I don't need to go play there. I'll go to Australia and play.
Well, it's crazy to me, too, as well, is, the PGA Tour just struck that deal with the DP World Tour, and then DP is now saying, hey, they can come play in these events, which leads me to believe there's a chance that LIV Golf is going to be able to start playing in PGA events eventually, or play in the majors, because
there was this lawsuit. I don't know if this had anything to do with that lawsuit from the Scottish Open. But no, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, because their alliance just got strengthened a bunch, right? So why would the DP Tour come out and say, hey, you can actually play in these events now? Because they don't want to lose the marketing dollars from not having big names in it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that especially if you're maybe a lot of the journeyman European Tour players, going to Australia is very expensive. So it could be a really weak field unless you do that, and now you get some of these LIV guys who need to go earn world ranking points. Obviously, assuming that the Cam Smith, Adam Scotts, Mark Leishman's, they want to play in that event,
right,
which is after the President's Cup, which is when they're rumored to leave. So, yeah, I mean, it puts the PGA Tour in a difficult spot, and we're not sitting here saying the European Tour is like allowing this. Maybe they are forced from a lawsuit standpoint. We don't know. I just saw a brief report. I'm like, whoa, that's another big domino to fall.
Yeah, my brain's literally kind of just going at the moment here too. And for me now, with this new alliance, with the partnership between the PGA Tour and DP, is all right, maybe the PGA Tour doesn't let them play, right? But maybe PGA Tour says, hey, the DP, what you guys should do? Let all these guys play in the DP World Tour. And then you guys start making money again. And then we both make money.
It could be. You're right. It could be like a...
And then we get our World Tour. Like, we have the PGA Tour. You have the DP World Tour. It's all one big tour. Then you get... LIV plays their events for millions of dollars each year. But then you have your majors where the tours... every single tour, LIV, European, PGA Tour, and you have these showcase events. Maybe even the players, eventually they'll invite. To me, that seems like the only way this is all going to work out in the end if PGA Tour wants to survive. That's me saying this on July 25th right now. Yeah. It could change, but that's how I'm seeing it right now. So, again, possibilities are endless, but I think the only way for this all to work out is if these guys start working together for the betterment of the actual game, Yeah,
no, exactly. They got to grow the game. Use that. Yeah. Grow the game. But either way, so we got Rocket Mortgage Classic this week.
Yep.
Get off the LIV topic. The teams for the LIV event haven't been set. We're recording this on a Monday again. Those are set on Tuesday.
Who do you off the top of your head? Who do you think's gonna? We got to know the field set, but team individual wise, who do you got for LIV this week?
It's at Bedminster. Taylor Gooch.
Taylor Gooch. All right. Yeah. I do think it's DJ one of the bigger names. I think either DJ or Brooks, Patrick or Bryson. I think we see one of the big names that the coveted names that left and went. I think we see one of those guys this week. I don't know.
I like Bryson. I mean, he's starting to round into form, and I think he actually cares about winning. Unlike I don't think Brooks gives a fuck.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. Call a spade a spade.
Well, Brooks has been very vocal about not caring about golf, so not surprised whatsoever. But I can see that Bryson he had hand surgery back early part of the year, so I like that pick.
All right, so Rocket Mortgage Classic, Cam Davis, the defending champ.
Yep. But in a 5 or 6 hole playoff, I was pretty drunk last year when I was there at the final round, but it was electric. Him and Troy Merritt.
Yeah, what a playoff.
Well, it was cool because I caddied in the pro-am for Braylon Edwards. Braylon, shout out, guest of the friend of the program. I caddied for him in the pro-am last year, and we got paired up with Troy Merritt. And so Troy Merritt was an Iowa guy. And him and Braylon were about the same age. So he remembers being in college and watching Michigan versus Iowa and things like that. Cool. So hearing that conversation between two guys that come from two totally different backgrounds was very cool.
You would never guess Troy Merritt and Braylon Edwards would be having a...
Right.
Yeah.
Troy Merritt was a pretty cool guy. Yeah. So was his caddy, too.
But so favorite Patrick Cantlay, but then just to go down the field, Zalatoris, Finau, Homa, Cam Young, Mav McNeely, Adam Scott, Denny McCarthy, stuff like that. But I mean, the two previous winners of the Rocket Mortgage Classic, first-time PGA Tour winners, and Nate Lashley, and then Cam Davis. I think it was Cam Davis's first.
Yeah, it was.
It was it? Yep. Okay, I was going to say. So I'd like to sit here and say, hey, don't bet on the big guys. They're not going to win. Cantlay's probably going to get a top 10, but he's not going to. He might miss the cut. This one.
He's been playing decent golf, though.
He has been, but I think this could be a week for like Cam Young to break through. He hasn't had a win yet, but he's been sniffing around. Will Zalatoris again. The problem with it's going to be a low winner. The guy's going to shoot 20, 24 under to win, and like that's not Zalatoris' type game.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying that now, and he could go do it. Where he
Super
excels
low.
is where you don't. It's not a putting contest where a guy doesn't have to just get super hot one week.
Right.
But then you have Keegan Bradley, Davis Riley, Chris Kirk. I mean, it is a better field. Sahith Theegala, like. There's guys worth watching, where in previous years it was like DJ and Phil, and they both said sayonara on Friday, and Bryson, like every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm curious to see what's gonna go down this week. I do think it's a pretty big crapshoot, just in these typical off week events. But what are your thoughts going into it? Who are you looking at? Stuff like that.
These events to me, especially with Max Homa being in the field, like they set up to be a Max Homa type event.
Yeah.
If you have to pick a favorite, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, or like a Sam Byrne. Like those two guys have won events, but usually like weaker field events. So
correct. Yeah.
You will say Homa won the Genesis. But.
Yeah, and they're playing pretty damn good golf right now too. So I wouldn't be surprised from that standpoint. I'm just looking forward to being out there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think I talked about it maybe a little bit last week. If you haven't been there yet, it's a great time. Even at the 3M Open, you saw those guys coming up the back nine, and there was a ton of people out there. I expect a ton of people be out there in Detroit this week. It's in a pretty good location right there off of Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really accessible. All the holes are, it's old school type golf course, right? They're all lined right next to each other. So it's not hard to get around out there. They have a ton of different events the
3-1-3 challenge. Does someone do it?
Yeah,
it's like
there's no one's ever gonna do that. That's what kind of bugs me.
Just so everyone knows, the 3-1-3 challenge. It's a 3-hole stretch on the back nine. Is it 15, 16, 17, or something right around there? And they're basically it's a 3 on a par 4, a 1 on a par 5, and a 3 on a par 3. So or par 5, excuse me. So you're going 5 under in a 3-hole stretch, which like. Look, the Eagle Birdie I can see happening, but like then you need them to make a hole in one, and it's like then they donate $313,000 to a charity, which like cool, but like that's never gonna happen. Yeah, and like I like the idea, I guess, but
even if they, I don't know. Yeah, I get the area code of Detroit 313.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I get it, and if it ever happens, we're gonna look like the biggest jackasses
if it happens
of this podcast.
Week.
Yeah, I mean, but one, you get pretty rattled, I assume, after making a hole in one. So to go out there and make an eagle after the fact, or a birdie after. I think it goes the par 5, par 3. Par 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. Par 3 is the second, obviously. I think you're right. It goes, so.
No, the par 5 is the second.
Either way, who do you like this week?
I like Homa.
As par 5 is the second.
Yeah. I like Homa as like the favorite
guy, yeah.
And then if you have to pick someone like who's the no-name guy that's gonna get their first PGA win, part of me wants to go with my guy Maverick McNeely again, but I'm not gonna do that because that's
too much of a favorite. Plus 2,500.
Yeah, that's no fun. I'm gonna go with a guy that finished second at this event 2 years ago. The Doc Redman.
The Doc.
So he's got fond memories of playing here in Detroit. He Monday qualified at the Orchards. Shout out Sam Spade, who I used to work with at Walnut Creek. He's over at Plum Hollow Country Club now. He played in that group with him. He stock shot 62 like it was nothing.
Yeah, just coasting around.
So Monday qualified and then he finished solo second behind Nate Lashley at the Ryder Mortars. So that's my dark horse, I guess you could say, going into this week.
All right, I'm gonna go. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd pick Cam Young, but I'm gonna go Ju Young Kim plus 5,500. Don't know why. He's 20-year-old.
Yeah.
This one didn't surprise me if he just plucks off a win. Again, I think it's a long shot guy. I'm looking at these bets. Like if I'm going long shot plus 10,000, Chris Goddard up. And then I bet on Nick Hardy like every week because I want to be there for his when he's plus 8,000. So there's some long shots you can jump on, which maybe it's worth putting like $10 on 3 different guys at massive long shots, hoping like one might be there. But I was looking and I looked at Callum Tarrant. He's plus $1,300. So if you bet, $13,000. If you bet $100, you win $13,000 on Callum Tarrant winning. It's pretty good odds. He's plus 900 for a top 10 finish.
Okay.
Which like now I'm gonna go look at his top 20, top 40, but like. Someone maybe to look at. Saying.
Is he due for a miscut, though?
Like he's had 6 events or 5 events from the U.S. Open. He's got 2 top 10s. 2 missed cuts, and he just got a top 10 last week, so he's probably going to miss the cut this week. But I'm just throwing it out there, okay?
Yeah, letting you know.
And then Joel Dahman, like another name who I actually like. He's in the field. Just
love me some Joel Dahman.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it'll be fun. It's these events where these like younger guys, which I'm craving for, get more chances. Looking at like those super long shots, there's not a ton of like the has-beens.
Here's a name for everybody.
Which is nice.
If you're watching on TV, if you're out at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, go follow a guy named Ben Cook. He's in the field this week. He's actually a PGA professional
From Birmingham, right?
Yep. Well, I don't know if he's not from Birmingham.
But he's a pro at.
He was a pro on the west side. He's from the west side of the state.
What do I know?
You're thinking Tim Pierce, who's over at Birmingham.
You're right.
He's also very good at golf. But Ben Cook, he was good buddies with my one of my best friends, Zeke, that I worked with. They went to Ferris State together. They went through the professional golf management program. Ben's played a few events on the Latin America Tour. He qualified for the U.S. Open when Phil won, and then was the low pro out of all of the club professionals in that event.
You said he qualified for the U.S. Open when Phil won?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Phil never won a U.S. Open.
Or I meant the
PGA.
PGA Championship.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, not the U.S. Open. I misspoke.
No, you're
there.
right. You're okay.
So very good player. I've played with him. He worked during the winter time at a club called John's Island down in Florida. If you haven't ever played that, that's a badass golf course. But played with him, and we were slapping it around out there, and I was like, okay, like he probably shot like 75. No, he shot like 4 under, 5 under, like 67.
Just casually.
Like it was nothing. So
did he get in sponsor exemption? Do we know?
I believe he got in because he was. He won the
Michigan PGA.
The Michigan PGA
So
Championship.
Cool.
So you get an automatic exemption. So that's another cool factor in that as well too. But do not be surprised if he's floating around the top 10 or top 20 this weekend. He's a very, very good player.
So he was plus 5,000 for a top 10. He's plus 550 for a top 40. I feel like that's worth a bet.
Yeah. I mean, he finished, I believe it was T33 at the PGA Championship. So he's got, that was with the best field in golf at the time, too.
Yeah.
So
we got to okay, good. There's some nuggets. Just some nuggets if people want to make some money.
That's some hometown knowledge.
We
right?
obviously killed it last week.
Yeah.
I did at least. But, all right. Well, so Birdie the bogey of the week.
Wait, hang on. Before we get to that,
sorry.
I have to get this Area 313 thing straightened out because we can't look like assholes with our own home event and not knowing. So, a 3 or eagle on 14. So 14 is the par 5.
Yep.
Then obviously the 1 par 3, and then birdie 60 par 4.
Okay.
But so if a 3 or eagle on hole 14 will amount to a $2,500 donation by Rocket Mortgage by any player. So this is a lot more clarity for us here. A hole in 1 on 15 will amount to $10,000 donation
because that happens all the time on the hole.
And then 3 on 16 will amount to $2,500. So
okay, so they're giving away a lot of on 14 and 16. They're giving away some money.
Yeah, and I think the winner gets to like 20 under. So there's gonna be eagles and birdies there all week. So that's got that cleared up. So we're not.
Hey, at least we're
no longer assholes.
We're not ripping. I just they're gonna talk about it on the broadcast a fuck ton.
But no one talks about that part of it, right? They only talk about the 3-1-3 part.
So okay, it's glad you mentioned it. So if we don't look like idiots, we'll still get ripped apart for what people listen to.
Yeah.
But all right, birdie bogey of the week.
All right, you want me to kick this thing off?
Yeah, why don't you start?
All right, so my birdie of the week, I will say, is are you a video game player at all?
Like I used to be, not as much anymore.
So there's this new game called out, and I don't play a lot of video games at all during the summertime because I'm golfing, we're practicing, right? I play a decent amount during the wintertime just to kill time. Well, I had some extra time on this week. I got all the editing done for the podcast. I made reels. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that fun stuff. So I did all that. So like Friday night, I didn't have anything going on. Saturday night, didn't really have anything going on. So there's this new game called Fall Guys out there.
Oh, I've played this game.
You can play with anything.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, you can play with your girlfriend. You can play with, and I was playing with buddies. It is a ton of fun to play. And you look at it as like, this game's probably stupid, but it almost reminds you almost like a Mario Party type deal.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great way to put it. It's really fun. I think.
And I played it on Friday and Saturday night, and it was a great time. And it's a good way. You don't have to spend money. The game's free. So I did that. I had a great time doing that over the weekend. And I guess my second birdie of the week is I played golf and I shot the best 9 holes I've had all year so far. Or no, that's a lie. That's not the case because I shot 33 on the back 9 at Maple Lane a few weeks ago.
There you go.
But at Plum Hollow, where I grew up playing for 10 years, I shot 34 on the front, so that was a record there. But that leads into my bogey of the week, which is I shot 6 over on the back 9 to shoot 76 like an asshole. So I thought I was going to break par for the first time for 18 holes, which we've gotten even par.
Yeah.
Now we got to break par. That's the next goal. So I shot 6 over and with a triple on the easiest hole. So that was my triple bogey of the week.
Yeah.
As people would call it. So I've been grinding on the game right now, and it's the last 2 times out that I've played, it's been 76, 71.
Yeah.
So I can't hate that.
And you and I will get out in August to do our, we gotta have some fun with the outfit and everything.
Yeah,
Gotta get you out. Maybe I'll have a caddy tomorrow and a big thing.
Let me know
If you, it might need it. It's like 4:00 tee time. So my birdie, you talk about breaking par. I was able to break par for the first time this year.
Shout out.
It's been, it had a few different even par rounds. I've had one where I 3-putted the last hole to shoot even. So it was nice to get the monkey off the back. It was a weird round, 3 birdies and 1 double, just like no bogeys. It's odd. But yeah, part of it was like the putter kind of got hot on the last 4 holes. So no, I was like, this was great. I won't put the last 4 holes basically to do it. Birdie 2 of the.
Hell yeah.
But then my bogey of the week, and again, it's just learning how to play. I think the following round right after, 2 days later, I shot 82. So the 71 from the tips, 82 was from the blue tees. Humbling game, man. Like,
yeah.
You just you think you got it, and then it just punches you back in the face. I was like, oh, this will be easy. I just tease up. I'll be able to shoot even, at least close or something. Nope. But then a couple days later, I was 3 under through 7 holes, and as I was telling you, I had the short par 5s coming up, and yeah, it's just the asshole tightened a little bit, and it's learning how to play in that. And it went from not like shooting to play for a score. It was no, I'm trying not to make a mistake. And the moment you start thinking about it, well, the mistakes are going to come to fruition. So either way, we're obviously tooting our own horn here. I mean, I was 3 under through 7. I shot 1 over. The funny thing on it, I was 3.62 average on the par 4s, 3.8 average on the par 3s.
Oof.
Like how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean,
but
par 3s
learn how to hit long irons.
And it's crazy too because like on handicaps, like the par 3s are always easier, which I don't think it's always the case.
No, I agree.
It's funny that you brought that up too because on Sunday when I was playing, I was 2 under through 11 holes, and I felt good. The reason I thought I was going to take it so low because I was really in a good mental. I didn't feel nervous.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was pressing at all, and just literally like, again, working with the new swing a little bit. It would just those changes kind of reared their head and just kind of bit me in the ass. So for me, I felt like I was in a really comfortable spot. The putter finally got going. I had 25 putts on Sunday, and I was like, all right, we are in a good spot right now. And I really did think I was going to take it low, but like you said,
well, it's one of those things. Like there's times where I felt nervous and I'm starting shitting myself when I get into those positions. And this time I really hadn't gotten to that point yet because it was so early, and it was more. I think there's the difference in the mentality of, okay, like, where can I miss this shot? And all of a sudden you start thinking that way instead of like, all right, let's just hit a good wedge to this spot or hit a 7-iron or don't hook this. Like, just some of the negative thoughts, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm 3 under, like panic. And so it's it's a learning experience. And so we'll see where it goes. But no, either way, we're rounding into form. We got the club championship coming up, so we'll see where that is. I'm just trying to qualify again.
I should have just caddied for you in that.
Maybe we do that Friday or a week from Friday. So
maybe we make that happen.
27 holes.
Because you and golf carts do not mesh on the club. Have we told that story here on this podcast?
What?
About you crashing the cart while you're leading the club championship?
Oh, and leading the qualifier last year?
Yeah.
I was just boozed up.
Yeah.
Boozed up trying to talk shit and like didn't realize I overturned on a bridge, and all of a sudden I got up to my fairway and my pinky blew up. And
yeah. God, it was nasty. Guy almost literally ripped his pinky off.
I mean, I'm not going to show it to everyone because it's disgusting. It still hasn't healed. Like, it's never going to heal.
Oh, really?
I mean, it looks better than it did.
Oh,
but
goddamn.
Yeah, it's a broken nail now.
Yeah.
It's blown up. But either way, make sure you're paying attention when you're driving a golf cart, especially after booze.
Yeah. And you're going to the first Tigers game of the year? Is it first Tigers game of the year for you tonight?
No. Second one. I went to one earlier this year. But yeah, we got Rocket Mortgage Classic. Probably some more golf this weekend. It'll be a fun time.
Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm just hoping, I think we're going to have really good weather for the Rocket Mortgage Classic this week. I'm going to
Should
pull
be.
it up real quick. Just, 80, well, a little chance of rain on Wednesday, but that's not a big deal. But yeah, literally, radar right now, this is, again, on a Monday, so this can always change. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get the little, just mostly sunny, all sunny. 80 degrees, so should be a great day out in Detroit. Again, if you're out there, see if you can't come find us. We'll be floating. I'll be there most of the week. I think Sam's going to try to get out there as well, too. So if you see us, definitely stop us, say hello, and we'll look forward to it. So if you're playing golf this week as well, too, hit them far, hit them straight.